So they never act whimsically, and they completely, they are surrendered souls. And once they are surrendered souls, it will be very easy to go back home, back to Godhead, because completely surrendered without any tinge of ego. Very importantly, the enlightened souls, they are striving for human welfare. You can see all the gurus from Srila Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were all striving for human welfare. And even Ramanujacharya, when his guru gave him the guru mantra, and he said, you have to keep it very secret, you are not supposed to share with anyone. He went on the top of the mountain and he shouted, Om Namo Narayana. And when he was asked, why did you do so? He said, why should I alone benefit? I want the whole humanity to benefit. Srila Prabhupada, he could have nicely stayed in Vrindavan and did his Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, and he would have attained Golokadham anyway. But no, at that ripe age of 69, 70, he traveled all the way to US. For what? For human welfare. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave us Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. For what? Human welfare. So they are all striving for human welfare, such enlightened souls. Narad Muni, he travels all around the globe doing that only. So it is their nature, like Srila Prabhupada, in that 69 years, how did he travel? He traveled aboard that cargo ship. Journey was treacherous, and that such elderly spiritual teacher or spiritual guru, Jagat Guru, suffered 2 heart attacks. Why? He could have nicely stayed, right? But no, he chose to remain in that discomfort. And his because his guru Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Swami had Srila Bhakti Swami Saraswati Thakur had instructed to spread Lord Chaitanya's message throughout the English speaking world. Just because he said English speaking world, he traveled all the way to US, and he went on to fulfill his guru's wish. So we can make out, from that he was working at that age for what? Not for his selfish interest, just to deliver all of us, all the living entities. Now we are sitting over here and able to discuss Bhagavad Gita is because of Srila Prabhupada. So such transcendent beings, Lord Krishna is telling over here in this verse that they know fully well that everything is in God's hand, nothing is in our hands. We think we are in control, but they know they are simply doing their duty, and they know they will do to the best of their ability and then leave everything in the hands of God. That's what they think. They're such self-realized people like Srila Prabhupada. They understand that there will be dualities in this world. You can't avoid. You can't say, okay, if I'm on that level, miseries won't come or happiness won't come. It will be there. Dualities is the nature of this material world. But how to deal with them? If there is happiness, sorrow, they remain unaffected. That's what transcendental people like Srila Prabhupada, we have many, many examples also, right? Narad Muni, Prahlad Maharaj. We have such transcendental people who are not disturbed when they were, these material, 3 modes of material nature or gunas um, were affecting them. Whatever happened, Prahlad Maharaj, he was an illumined, personality. He was tortured by his father, so much so that, he could have, somebody like an ordinary person would have died, but no, he was completely in that other transcendental mode. He had no feelings of dveshti or hatred towards him. We worldly people, we are overly concerned with whatever is happening around us. Somebody says one sentence, our mind repeats 1,000 times. That's what is our nature. That's how the mind is made up of. It is made up of material energy. So that is why it is containing that 3 modes of material nature, modes of Maya. Very natural, right, for the mind to be influenced by these gunas. And thoughts keep coming. And then we spend our time, उसने मुझे ऐसा क्यों कहा? She could have said the other way around, or so and so behaved in such a way, or so and so did so and so. And we are brooding and brooding over that state of things in this world. ऐसा क्यों हुआ? That's the question every time we keep asking. ऐसा क्यों हुआ? Why did she have to do this? Why did she not talk to me? Or why did she not look at me when I was at a friend's place? Or, because we are completely clouded with ignorance and we are completely clouded with Maya. The problem is that, we are not able to see, we are in this bodily platform, we are not able to see the mind as different from ourselves. So, the mind at present, what is happening is it is having a disturbing thought. It's feeling, you know, oh, I'm thinking in this negative manner. We then, the moment we have that negative manner, we associate with that poisonous thought. We should not, we should disallow. And mind, we should be very strict with the mind. Let's be very, very strict with the mind. Otherwise, it will damage us spiritually. So we have to remove that thoughts of the mind and say, I will have nothing to do with any thought that is not conducive to my devotion. If it is coming in between my bhakti, throw it out, get out. That's it. Because the people who on that transcendental platform, they have mastered that. They have mastered the art of distancing themselves from all the negative thought. They don't allow, they don't allow this drama of this mind, how the flow of gunas is happening. They will not allow. Kuch bhi ho jaye, nothing can come between me and Krishna. So soul, soul is actually beyond three gunas. But because we are in bodily consciousness, we are able to identify with it. But Lord Krishna is saying those who are on transcendental platform, they will not identify with these dualities. They are self-realized souls, right? That is why they remain untouched by that. So what are we supposed to do? We should try and we should, follow them and try to do much more devotional service. And we should try to bring about a change, as Mahatma Gandhi had said, right? Be the change that you want to see in the world. And even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had said, right? Erupe Brahmananda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. So he says that, right? So he says Bhakti Lata Bija. Who will find it? Erupe Brahmanda Brahmite. We are all wandering. Brahmite. We are all wandering living entities over here. Kona Bhagyavan Jina. So there will be one fortunate, will come in contact with the Guru Krishna Prasade Paya. He will get that Guru Krishna Prasade Paya. That Prasada we will get some fortunate soul who will come in contact with some true representative of Lord. And then what will happen? It will inculcate Bhakti Lata Bija, and that will start getting that executive there. We will start executing the doing the devotional service. So after having answered Arjuna's two questions very, very nicely and very, very vividly by telling, their Samaloshta Ashma Kanchana and his Tulya Priyo Dhiraha and all his Dhiraha, his Nindatma Samstuti, whether it is Ninda or Stuti, doesn't care. After telling all that, he is going to answer Arjuna's third question. How does one transcend the modes of material nature? So that's what Lord Krishna is going to answer now. Let's see that in the next slide. Mam chayo vyabhichareణ bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati tyaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Hare Krishna. Would anybody like to read the translation? You can raise your digital hand and read it. Yes, Manoj Prabhuji,
Right.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Hare
So
Krishna.
now Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Now Krishna answered two questions in the last shloka, right? And last three shlokas, 22, 23, 24, 25, 20, 25, four shlokas he has answered, right? And he has told what are the symptoms, who has transcended the three modes of material nature, how his behavior is. Now Lord is coming to the third question, which is how can one person transcend the three modes of material nature? So what Lord is telling us will help us also, so that we also can try and transcend the three modes of material nature. So here it is said that Mam cha yo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. So person, ya means he who, a person you can say, who bhakti yogena sevate, who is with bhakti or devotional service. Bhakti yogena sevate, seva kar rahe. He is doing seva to whom? Mam, which is me. He starts with mamcha. So with who is doing bhakti yogena sevate, he is doing devotional service to me, which is mam. Then what will happen? That to a vyabhicharena means without fail. He is not trying to say, okay, aaj maine kar diya, tomorrow I can't get a plot. Sorry, I was too tired. I slept very late. No. Avyabhicharena, without fail, come what may, rain, storm, thunder, cold, hot, heat, whatever, fire, doesn't matter. Avyabhicharena, without fail. Then what happens to such a person? Avyabhicharena, if he is doing bhakti yogena, sagunan, samati tyetan. He will transcend what? All the gunas, the modes of material nature. And Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. He is elevated to what? Brahman platform. So he moves ahead, moves up. Only if you are able to do Bhakti Yogena Sevate, to whom? Mam, which is Lord Krishna. And how? Avyabhicharena, without fail. Then only, like Ananyash Chintayanto Mam, you have to. Ananya Chintan you have to have. You can't say, I did Chintan today, tomorrow I can't. I will do Chintan now, next moment I won't. Ananyash Chintayanto, that's what Lord's condition is. So this verse is the reply of Arjuna's, to Arjuna's third question, how you can transcend the three modes. So it's the Lord's answer very clearly. Bhakti yogena sevate, through bhakti. So bhakti yoga means what? Lord is there, the devotee is there, and then there is an activity of exchange of love between the Lord and the devotee. That's it. No third person is there in between. That's what is bhakti. If that is not there, we are still not into bhakti. But we are in Kali Yuga. This Kali Yuga is full of faults. And in Bhagavatam also, 12th canto, it is mentioned, right? What was that? Kaler doshe kaler doshe nidhe rajan, and asti haiko mahan gunaha. So this Kali Yuga, it is completely full of faults. Kirtaniya Deva Krishnasya. You can just do Kirtan of Krishna. Mukta Sangas, Param Raje. Then only you can get Mukti. Simple as that. This Kale Doshe Nidhe Rajan, Shukadev Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj, this Kali Yuga is full of doshas. And what you can do is, you can't transcend the modes, the guna. But if you can Kirtaniya Deva Krishnasya, if you can do the Kirtan of Krishna, then what will happen? Mukta Sangats Param Raje. This is what we need to understand, that we have to continuously chant Krishna's Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then only we will be able to get rid of this material bondage, and we can go to the spiritual world where you don't have to, where there is no sun, no moon, no electricity, no need to pay any electricity. We'll come to that in next chapter. Tatat bhasayate suryaha na shashanko na pavakaha yadgatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Krishna will describe his spiritual world in the next chapter. And that's where we will go, right? So why a Lord said chanting? Because that's the only way, that's the only thing we can do now, right? Rest all is very tough for us, as we all know, as it is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam again, Krite yadhyayato Vishnu Tretayam yajato makhaihi. So we know Tretayam what happened. Dwapare paricharyayam kalau tadhira kirtanat. The Kali Yuga, we can just do kirtan. That's it. There is no other way. Because Satyuga, you could do meditation because you used to live for a long period of time. We could, Treta Yuga, we could practice sacrifices, and because everything was pure. Dwapar Yuga, we could go and do serve the lotus feet of the Lord. But now Kali Yuga, nobody has time. Everybody is saying lack of time. I can't even sit for 1 hour for a class also. That's how busy we have become in Kali Yuga. We give importance to everything except Lord's work. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Kirtani. Just do your Kirtan. At least do that Kirtan. That also we don't do it qualitatively. Quantity, we just want to finish. That's it. After mentioning all these doshas of Kali Yuga, he said, that one brilliant spiritual quality is Shukadev Goswami also said in Srimad Bhagavatam that chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is in this Kali Yuga. That's the Mahamantra. That is what is going to destroy all the contamination, the impurities that we are having inside, in us also. But if you are not in that same transcendental position with the Lord, then there is no way we can serve the Lord. It's very clear, right? So, like, for example, if you want to become a right hand or a personal assistant of the Prime Minister, can I just go and become, oh, I want to become the Prime Minister's PA? Will I get that position? No, I cannot. I'm not, I have to be qualified. I have to first acquire the qualifications, what is needed for PM's PA. PM's PA is the busiest person. He has to take care of everything, his travels, his appointments. So if I want to be Lord's associate, I need to have the qualification. And here, what's the Lord's, if I want to become PA of the Lord, what is the qualification? I should become free from all material contamination. Cannot be any material contamination. PM's PA needs to have some degrees. I also need to have some degrees over here. First degree is remove the material contamination. Ananyash chintayanto mam. Right? All this we need to have. Bhakti yogena sevate. Nothing should come in between me and the Lord. Like PA is completely devoted to what PM has to do. Otherwise, PM's whole schedule will go haywire. So, like I said in the previous verse, we have to purify ourselves. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed us the way for all this Kali Baddha Jivas for us. We are all Nitya Baddhas. We are all eternally, externally, we are anyway contaminated. Eternally, also, we are contaminated and conditioned also. So, that is why Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kalau Nasti, Eva Nasti, Eva Nasti, Eva Gatir, Anyatha. So in this age of Kali Yuga, which is full of everybody is busy, everybody is selfish, everybody is minding their own business, nobody wants to help anyone, even in your own family, even with your own kids and parents and all that. No one is selfless. In this age, the only way we can go near the God and get the qualification of Lord's association is to chant the holy name of the Lord. That's it. There is no other way. So when we are in that spiritual position, if we reach that spiritual position, we will be as good as gold, as good as Krishna in quality, but not in, of course, never in quantity, right? Bindu can never become a Sindhu. So we reach that Brahman platform. That's what Lord is telling over here. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So the message that we get over here, we can be rescued. The Lord is giving us a subtle message over here. You can get out of this dangerous ocean of age of Kali. We can get away. It's just that we have to engage ourselves in the service of the Lord and chant Krishna's Maha Mantra, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Whenever you get an opportunity, just keep saying that. Then, even though the modes of material nature will be very difficult to overcome, we can still, with Lord's, beholding Lord's hand, like Prime Minister's PA, he gets so much of facilities, right? Prime Minister is always protecting him. Any problem, he says, don't worry, I am there for you. Similarly, if we are completely dedicated and devoted to Krishna, he will say, don't worry, I am there. I know. He will say, Devi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. My Maya is very Duratyaya. But you know what will happen? If you come and you dedicate yourself to me, surrender to me, I will make sure that you cross this ocean. Maya metam taranti, you will swim across the ocean. So if we are really interested to attain Krishna, if you are sitting over here trying to understand Bhagavad Gita and want to attain Krishna and want to break the cycle of birth and death, then what we must do? Follow spiritual master, our Jagat Guru, Srila Prabhupada's instruction, whatever he has written in the purport, to the dot. And we are very fortunate to be reading his purports, which he very, very mercifully has shared. He has made it so, so easy for all of us that any neophyte can understand that. Otherwise, very difficult to understand Sanskrit. Now, we will get clarity as to where we are heading towards, and when we reach the ultimate destination, then we will slowly understand we are going towards a spiritual platform. We will ourselves understand. So, what is the object of meditation now? Take the holy name of Lord Krishna. And then what will happen? We will move on to the transcendental platform. So, Lord will now conclude this chapter. He will reveal, he will talk about that Brahman aspect, which Jnanis worship, it's the effulgence from the personal form of the Lord. But of course, we have some points. We'll just go through the points very quickly. So, what is it? Lord has answered the third question, how to transcend the three modes. So, what is Lord saying? We should get into Bhakti Yogena Sevaya and unfailing, avyabhicharena in all circumstances, right? So, then we will be able to transcend the mode of material nature. And then we will come to Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. That's how we will come. So, next, last one of this chapter, let's see. Brahmano hi pratisthaham amritasya vyasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ekantikasya cha. Hare Krishna. Yes, please, Shilpa Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Brahman is the beginning of transcendental realization, and I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness and which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, in previous shloka, what did Lord Krishna say? He said you need to have Bhakti Yogena Sevaya, that also avyabhicharena, unfailing devotional service. Very, very important point is unfailing. We talk about, everybody talks about devotional service, but nobody talks about unfailing devotional service, which Lord Krishna mentioned in the previous verse. Avyabhicharena is a very, very important word because devotional service we can do. We will do today, tomorrow we are sick, we won't do. Tomorrow we have some work, we won't do. But Lord says unfailing. That's a very important point. But the destination Lord was talking was Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, the level of Brahman. So now, if someone may have a question, no, I want to attain Krishna. Why is Krishna saying that you will attain Brahman? I want Krishna. So now Krishna is clarifying that point, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, I told you, right? So I am going to talk about this relation with Brahman. Please try and understand, says Lord Krishna. That's why he again gave this shloka and he's trying to clarify that point. So Lord Krishna is saying, Brahmano hi pratishtha aham. Brahmano hi pratishtha aham. Aham means I, right? So all this Brahma Jyoti or Brahman aspect or the effulgence, who is it? I am Pratishtha. I put the basis. Mera ye foundation mera hi hai. It's mine. This rests on me. Mere body se nikalta. It comes out from my body. So Brahmano hi Pratishtha ham. So this Brahman I'm talking about, in the previous shloka I spoke about, right? Says Krishna. This Brahman aspect or effulgence aspect is Pratishtha, is the basis of Aham, mine, coming out of my body. It rests on me. It emanates from me, he's saying. So now, after clarifying that point, that don't worry, if you want me, that also is my aspect only. It's coming out from me. What are the characteristics of the impersonal Brahman is what Lord is going to tell. So first point he says, it is Amritasya, immortal. Then he says Avyayasya, it is imperishable. It will never perish, right? Naturally, light coming out from Lord. How can it ever? It's part of the Lord only. So definitely it is understandable that it is immortal and it is imperishable. कहाँ जाएगा? मेरे से अगर कुछ निकल के आ रहा है मेरे body से तो it cannot go anywhere, right? It will remain with me. It's a very logical point. And then he's saying it is shashvatasya, eternal. Again, it is very logical. And then he says, dharmasya, sukhasya, akantikasya cha. So it is the constitutional position is always happiness, ultimate happiness. When we talk about Lord, definitely all these qualities will come, right? Amritasya, vyayasya, shashvatasya, dharmasya, sukhasya, kantikasya. So it is ultimate happiness is there and akantikasya, right? So Lord is telling about this. He is very, very strongly, he's what do you call stamping, endorsing. He's endorsing, how he is the source of his effulgent Brahman. He is the very, 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 very basis of Brahman. So that why Lord is telling again and again? Because he says there should not be any kind of misunderstanding anymore. That's why Lord is, he repeated in this verse again, after telling Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So, oh, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. He's stopping over there. Why? I want Krishna. So he said, no, no, no. This is also me. Okay. So Lord is telling that Brahman, which these Gyanis, they worship as the light from the personal effulgence of the God. It's the beginning. It's just the first step. Second step is, of course, Super Soul, Paramatma. And of course, the final is me, Aham. That is Lord Krishna. So Paramatma, Super Soul is the middle one. And that second stage of, so he's saying it's the basis. That's why Lord made it very clear. It's the basis, means the first step. Brahman is the first step. We have to reach there at least. We are nowhere. And of course, Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate, is the ultimate realization in the absolute truth. So this attainment of Brahman conception is the Lord is telling the basis or the first stage in self-realization. Very clearly he has stated, Brahmano hi pratishta aham, the basis, first stage. He only himself saying. So he is saying, don't be worried, you are coming towards me only. This is the first stage, you can move on. And if you want, you can continue or you can stay in that Brahman position if you want to, and then gradually rise up to Paramatma realization, and then slowly go to the Bhagwan aspect, like how the four Kumaras were there, right? Who were there? Sanaka Kumara, then Sanaka, Sanatana, Sananda, and Sanat, right? So these four Kumaras were there. They were actually in that Brahman realization stage, right? And then gradually they rose to the platform of devotional service. So we all know the process of devotional service by now. We are all experts in knowing this. There are 9 processes of devotional service, right? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, right? Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. We all know this. So it should be practiced now. Time has come that we practice with the association of devotees, right? So, like if you go and if suppose you're boiling some water, then you put your head inside. Can you see your reflection? No. Similarly, solution cannot be seen with a disturbed mind. If mind is very disturbed, we cannot do devotional service. Still water, you look into the water, then you will be able to see your reflection. So we need to still our mind, focus towards Lord, and then chant the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Be silent. Mind keeps running, but we have to become silent. Not like boiling water where we cannot see the reflection. And then we should start contemplating and go within, introspect. What am I doing? Then you will find solution for all our problems. We will easily be able to solve it very clearly, and we will be surprised actually how things are working out. It's my personal experience that things work out without even my asking anything, without my doing anything. So what we have to do is open our eye, this eye, EYE, And then what do we have to close? Close the capital I, letter I. Open this I and close the I. That's devotional service. That aham bhavna should be completely get melted. Throw it, swaha, into the fire. And that once that aham is gone, nothing remains. Only you, the soul and the Lord. That's it. Eternal aham bija pradapita. That's it. We and our spiritual father remains. That's it. And we'll be able to engage in the devotional service, eat prasadam that is offered to the Lord, and then we can smell the flowers offered to the Lord, visit places, dham, we can visit dhams, and we can, wherever Lord has done his transcendental pastimes, and we can, of course, we can do our Ekadashi as we always do. And what will happen if we do all this strictly? Then, if we do it avyabhicharin or unfailingly, then we will be able to we will be able to distance ourselves, detach ourselves completely from all the process in this material world. We will still be doing our activities, but in a detached way. We are not expecting anything from anybody. So that's what is going to happen, because this Prakriti, it is going to tie us like anything. That's its nature. We can't help it. We can't tell, oh, Maya, don't tie me. It's her nature. It will, right? So the moment it is tying us, and we are avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate to Krishna, what will Krishna do? Open it, untie it. Because modes of material nature will definitely captivate us, imprison us. But Lord Krishna, he will come, he will remove us from the jail, and he will take us with us to his spiritual abode. Hari Bol. So with this, we have completed chapter 14, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, 3 modes of material nature. Let's see the points quickly. So devotional service is the safest position, and that's what Lord is saying. Why? Because it is having all the characteristics of Brahman realization. In Taittiriya Upanishad also it has been mentioned that Supreme Personality of Lord is the only and only solution for all of us, and is the reservoir of all pleasure. And then we have to understand that when we move into the devotional service, we feel very happy. We'll feel very blissful. You will experience that once we go. And Lord Krishna, he is full of all the opulences. And if we go and if we connect to Lord, then we will have that exchange of 6 opulence. Of course, quality wise, but not quantity wise. And then Lord says that once we get the realization of Brahman, and then what will happen? Brahman realization is it's like eternity, imperishability, and ultimate happiness. It's all comes in the only. So that's the summary. Living entity, even in the Brahman in nature, he has the desire to lord it over the material nature. And then Lord says, desire to enjoy makes him fall down. Association with modes makes him desire to dominate the material world in different bodies. So, how is devotional service helping us? We can see that we will move on to transcendental position, and his unlawful desire is what happens to it? Controls. That desires get controlled, right? And that Maya gets disappears a little bit. Practicing 9 processes of devotional service helps us to connect to Lord, and then one is situated in Brahman platform, and he is able to connect to Lord and becomes equal in quality to the Supreme Personality of Lordhead. Because in Taittiriya Upanishad, it's very, very clearly said, Raso Vaisa, he, he who understands, Raso Vaisa, Rasam Hai, Evayam Labdva Nandi Bhavati. Very, very clearly, whoever can understand Lord, who is Raso Vaisa, Rasam, he's full of pleasure, he will actually become where? Completely Bhavati. He is transcendently, he will become very, very happy, because you're always talking to the Lord. And then Lord, actually, they say that he comes in person. only who are transcendently situated know that he comes actually in person to help us out, you know. I remember a story about this where, you know, Mirabai's cousin brother was there. I read this about Jaimal Rathod in those days, in I think 1400s or something, when I don't know the date exactly, year I don't know, but I know about that Mirabai's cousin brother was there, and he used to do his puja, you know, Krishna puja. He was very much devoted to Krishna, Laddu Gopal, they say, right? So he was very much devoted to Krishna, and he said nobody should interfere when I am doing puja. So he during his time when he was ruling the Marwad, I think it was Marwad in Rajasthan. He was ruling that, another king, and he wanted to attack. He wanted to attack and he wanted to capture that. No, I think he was ruling Merta, and Marwar king wanted to attack Merta, and he wanted to attack, and that Maldio, that Mewar ruler was very, very powerful. Um, wherever he had gone, he would win the war. So he attacked. So when that Marwad Maldio king marched towards Merta, where King Jaimal was there, and he wanted to capture Merta, at that time, what was King Jaimal doing? He was very busy in his room. What was he doing? He was doing puja, Krishna puja. When he was doing Krishna puja, he had already instructed nobody should enter the room, nobody should disturb him. And how was he doing his Bhakti Yogena Sevate? He was doing Avyabhicharanya, complete devotion, no disturbance at all. And he had told everyone. Now these commanders of this King Jaimal's army, they were a little bit disturbed. Now what to do? He's coming and he's attacking now. How to pass on the information? They were in a state of panic. They didn't know what to do. They cannot decide on their own anything without king's advice. So what did they do? They approached King Jaimal's mother. They said, you know what to do, because the gatekeepers are also not allowing us to go inside. Can you help us? So King Jaimal's mother said, okay, let me just try and go. So she could go because she was the mother, right? So she went inside, but King Jaimal was King Jaimal. He just did not want to get up. With hands gesture, he signaled, please tell him to go fight. Let them, when she informed him, he said, no, you tell them to fight and he will follow only and only once he finishes the Krishna Seva. He has to finish the Krishna Seva, completing his puja only, he will get up. Even the country is being attacked. Okay, when she heard that, she went and told the commander in chief, "Hey, this is what Jaimal is saying, so please go and fight. He will join you soon." And so the army went, and the king Maldio of Mewar, he uh, conceded defeat and he went back. And now that interesting part comes. When King Jaimal came out of his room and he started preparing for battle, he has to wear all that stuff, right? So he heard everybody shouting, Har Har Mahadev, Har Har Mahadev there. And they was, oh, we have won the war, we have won the war. And there were a lot of celebrations and all going on. So he went out, said, oh, I just finished my puja. Now what had happened? Why are they shouting Har Har Mahadev and we have won the war and all that? So he saw his commander in chief and he was shouting and he came running to him and said, Kya hua? You know, what happened? So the commander in chief said, you know what, sir? We won. You made us won this battle. We are so proud of you because you are our king, and it's a great honor to have you as our king and all that. Glories to you, glories to you, glories to you. Jaimal was surprised. What? I won you the battle? How can that be possible? He said, why are you shocked? King Jaimal? King Jaimal said, but I was in the room worshipping Lord Krishna. So Skamal said, what are you saying, Maharaj? What are you talking? You arrived immediately after a few minutes and you were fighting, you were leading only. You were fighting in the front. You were even instructing all of us how to do, where to go, how to fight, and the whole strategy you explained to us. And we ourselves saw you fighting. You were, you were sitting on that black horse, and you fought with those soldiers and those army people in such a what brave and what fierce display of your bravery. You did that. We ourselves saw. You made sure that enemies, run away like anything. You made sure that you won us the battle. And in such a short period you could do that. आपने महाराज पकड़ पकड़ के एक एक को धोया, he said. So Jamal was completely surprised. He was taken aback, was shocked, and after thinking, he went into the room. Said, क्या हुआ ये? How did this happen, Krishna? Then he saw the Lord's deity, which he used to worship. And you know what was happening? The water was dripping from it. It's like, how the Lord was soaked in sweat. He just fought and came back, right? I'm having goosebumps. And it didn't take long for Jaimal to realize what had happened, And then you know what? He also noticed that one of the kundal of the Lord went missing, which he wears in the ears, right? So immediately he rushed to that battlefield. He said, I want to look and I want to know whether I will find it or not. And he found, to his surprise, he found that missing kundal over there, you know. And that's why that place is even now today it's called Kundal. And before this incident, there was never, that King Maldev. There was never an instance that King Maldev would go to some kingdom and attack and not win. This was the first time he had considered it. Why not? Why not? Lord Krishna was there who fought with him. So, he had come to fight for his devotee because the devotee was doing bhakti yogena sevate avyabhicharanya without fail. Come what may, fight, no fight, good, bad, I am not getting up till I finish my puja. And Lord said, oh my God, this devotee of mine is so stubborn, he's not getting up. Somebody is attacking. I have to help him. So he went. So Bhakta Vatsal Krishna, he himself fought for the devotee, right? Hare Krishna. So, if Lord Shiva, he refuses to have material wealth, why was Lord Parvati depicting wearing ornaments? Why does Lord Shiva not ask her to forego? But he doesn't ask Parvati Devi, okay, you should remove everything. Nothing like that, right? So it's not, because they are completely devoted. They are completely, Lord Shiva is biggest Vaishnava of, he is complete devotee of Lord Krishna. He will not say anything to anybody. And when they all came back saying, Har Har Mahadev, Mahadev was more than pleased. He said, oh Krishna, how much you have done for your devotee. And he was very pleased, and he bowed and he paid his obeisances to Lord Krishna. So that's the story of Bhakti Yogena Sevate. With this, we come to the end, and we'll see that we did from 1 to 4, the liberation and conditioning of living entity. 5 to 9, we understood about the description of the binding of the pure soul by the 3 modes. 10 to 13, we could recognize the supremacy of a mode within a person, how sometimes goodness, dominates, sometimes passion dominates, sometimes ignorance dominates, and actions and death within the modes. We understood that if we are in the mode of goodness, we go to higher planets. If we are in the mode of passion, we remain in the 3 planets. And if we are in the mode of ignorance, we go to Naraklok or hellish planets, lower modes. We can go into animal or trees. We can become anything. And how to transcend the modes? Krishna very clearly said, Bhakti Yogena Sevate. That also Avyabhicharanya. You have to do bhakti, and there is no other way in this Kali Yuga, especially, right? So with this we complete. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Supanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Gunatraya Vibhaga Yogo Nama Chaturdasho Dhyayah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Next chapter we'll do is chapter 50,
Hare Krishna Mataji, I have a
Purushottama Yoga.
question.
Yeah, and where Lord Krishna is going to compare the material world, how he is going to compare and to Ashwatha tree, a sacred fig tree. He is going to tell us about that. So we'll see
Hare
that.
Krishna Mataji, I have a
next-
question. Can I ask? Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
I have a
Mataji.
question. Hare
I'll
Krishna,
just-
can you hear me? Shilpa
Mataji,
Mataji.
1 second. I'm just trying to figure it out.